Hey students, it's Mrs. T, and this video does two things. It is going to show you a little bit about how our Blackboard class is organized, but more importantly, it's going to explain how your reaction papers work and what the requirements are, and also how the quizzes work and what the requirements are. I've got a schedule for the reaction papers here that you might want to enter into your phone or any other way that you keep track of what your to-do list is, and also a schedule for the quiz. The quizzes are going to be set with reminders in Blackboard, but for some reason the journal tool that we use in Blackboard for the reaction papers, it doesn't put you a notification in Blackboard. So I've got the schedule for you, and you can plan ahead and add reminders that you prefer right now for in your phone or whatever, so that you don't miss anything. Okay, so what you're looking at here is it's not our class. Our class is going to look slightly different than this, but I'm looking at course content under Blackboard. So when you access Blackboard, there's going to be stuff on our homepage that is required. The university requires me to put certain things on the homepage, so you always have it at your fingertips, like the syllabus and the course schedule, the textbook information if we have it, all that kind of stuff. So there's always going to be announcements that I make on the homepage. There's going to be announcements that I make through the announcements tab that will go to your UAPTC email address, but all of our content is going to be under course content, and I'm going to organize it with weeks. So what I'm showing you right here is an old class. This is not our class, but I'm showing you the two things that will be in our class a week from today, day one, when we see our content together for the first time. You're going to see a week one folder, and you're going to see this quiz and reaction paper schedule. So let's look at the week one folder really quick, because I think that'll be the quick part. I'm clicking on it now. Every single week you will have videos to watch. So here there's 2 videos to watch, and I normally will say lesson 1 part 1, lesson 1 part 2, so you know which ones to watch first. Here I've just got them in order. You should just kind of go down the list here. So you've got a syllabus video. In this particular case, I've got the word sociology written there. If you are a gender studies student, if you are a cultural geography student, if you are an anthropology student of mine, and you're watching this video, you're in the right place. It's not just for sociology students. I'm just showing you one example. Okay, so the sociology syllabus is listed here in week 1. You're supposed to watch that because I go over that with you. Here's the syllabus itself that you can open and follow along, although I follow along with it in the video. You should have watched that before you're watching this one. Okay, so stop this one and go back and watch that if you haven't already done your syllabus video for your particular class that you're in with me. And then I've got a link to this video that you're watching right now, because you have to have access to that. And then also I've got a file that shows you the printed out reaction paper rules. I'll show you in just a second. And every single week we'll have a journal tool link that is your reaction paper, and it'll specify a due date. And every single week we'll have a quiz link that you can access as many times as you want and save your progress, but you must submit it by Sundays at noon. No, sorry, Sundays at midnight. Correction, bleep, bleep, Sundays at midnight, okay? So there's an exception with the very first week's quiz, which we'll go over here in just a second. The very first week's quiz has a different due date than Sunday at midnight, and I'll tell you the reason for that in just a second. This link to the reaction paper and this link to the quiz will always appear by Thursdays every single week at 4 p.m. Thursdays at 4 p.m. Between Thursday at 4 p.m. and Saturday at midnight for the journal or for the reaction paper, and Sundays at midnight for the quiz. Between Thursday at 4 p.m. and Saturdays at midnight for the reaction paper, Thursday at 4 p.m. and Sunday at midnight for the quiz, you can submit those things anytime within that window. I'm emphasizing this and saying this slowly, looking at your eyes, because you must submit your reaction paper by midnight on Saturday, or this link right here disappears. It goes bye-bye and you've missed your opportunity. You must complete your quiz by Sunday at midnight, anytime between Thursday at 4 and Sunday at midnight, or that quiz link goes bye-bye and you cannot make it up. It's not personal. It's business. It's what the rule is for these two really low points. They're low stakes. It's not going to hurt you if you miss one or two here and there. I've actually got that built into the system. We'll talk about that in just a second. But it's your responsibility to set your reminders, to keep track and keep your attendance up in class. And so this is a 10-point thing. This is a 10-point thing. And you are required to do these at least 10 of the 15 weeks that we are together. So let me go back out of this. Let me go back to course content and let me show you some more of the rules. So that's what every single week, sorry, scatterbrain a little bit. That's what every single week is going to look like. Okay. So week 1, you'll see these two things. And then when week 2 starts, you'll see bingo, a new folder up above all this. Okay. So, anyway, and then each folder will have those links in it. The video links, the materials that you're supposed to read or have access to, those will never go away. But the links to the reaction paper, the link to the quiz for that particular week will go away. And there are no makeups. But then everything else will stay in those folders throughout our semester together. Okay? So another thing that you will always have access to in your course content, at the very bottom, you'll have to scroll all the way to the bottom for this, and on toward midterm, when we have a lot of weeks in there that you have to scroll past, this will always be there for you to be able to access it if you ever forget what the requirements are. They're always going to be there. Okay, let's start with the reaction paper rules for success. Now, I've already told you you can't make any up. And so let's look at these first two together. You only need 100 points for a reaction paper, and we have 15 opportunities. So let me do my math here. That means I don't have to do a reaction paper for 5 whole weeks. Now, I don't suggest at all that you wait the first 5 weeks and skip those, because you're backing yourself against the wall. What if you happen to miss one? What if your electricity goes out? What if your cat submits something before it's actually complete? Don't wait and skip the first 5 weeks. Get as many reaction papers as possible done at the beginning of the semester before midterm. We have 7 opportunities before midterm, and I'm going to use 5 opportunities to calculate your midterm grade. So do them, in other words. Okay, so let's talk about what all this is. So there's no partial credit. You either follow these rules and get 10 points, or you don't follow these rules and you get no points. And so whether you skip an opportunity or whether you fall short of following these rules and don't get credit for whatever you've submitted, I will explain it fully with feedback to you. Personal feedback to you if you miss the mark. I give feedback for every single reaction paper, whether they are stellar or whether they miss the mark. I give you feedback for that because this is your personal interaction time with me. I'm the only one reading these reaction papers, so you can spill your guts with these reaction papers and talk about the topics that we are discussing in class. Okay, so each reaction paper is in the weeks folder and course content in Blackboard. And here I note right here exactly what I just told you a minute ago in the video. From Thursday at 4 p.m. through Saturday night at midnight, that's when your window is for you to submit your reaction paper every single week. If you got your reaction paper completed at 4 p.m. on Thursday and you log in and you see that link there, click on that link and submit that reaction paper right then and there, honey. Don't wait until 11:59 on Saturday night. Submit it, okay? Because you've got that whole window. If it's most convenient for you to submit it at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, submit it. That window is there for you, okay? Don't wait till the very last minute because you'll miss it and you will text me in the middle of the night, I missed it, my electricity was out, I'm so sorry, will you let me turn it in? And I am sorry, but let me tell you right now, sweetheart, it's not personal. It's the rule. No, you can't submit a reaction paper that you missed the link has disappeared and you haven't submitted anything. It is not personal. Look at me when I'm talking to you. It is not personal. It's the rules and it's printed right here. Okay. So every reaction paper has to be 400 words minimum. That does not mean that you start out with this nice long header that's got your name and my name and the date and the title of the lecture and the title of the book and the author information and, No, I need 400 words of content that you wrote out of your beautiful brain that is a reaction to the topics that we're discussing in class. Okay? Literally, I want you to review the topics that we are discussing in class for that particular week. Review them so that they stick in your mind. You're going to need them to successfully synthesize concepts and analyze things critically for our projects that we do and for the discussion posts that are included in our course together. So you're going to need that information for the quizzes too. Every single week has a quiz that covers that particular week's information. So use your reaction paper as an opportunity to review what we've talked about that week. So it'll be fresh on your mind and the quiz will be bingo, you're done. So use that opportunity to review what we've done and to state your educated opinion. Don't tell me what your uneducated opinion is. Tell me how the stuff that we're learning is affecting how you view things. In sociology class, for instance, I often have students say, I've never thought about this micro scale life experience in this way before, but maybe this macro scale thing that we were talking about in class is affecting my life experience. And now I kind of have a different understanding of life. And so that's the kind of thing that you can tell me about in your reaction paper. Analyze your own life based on the concepts, the academic concepts that we're talking about in class. Okay, that happens a lot in the classes that I teach because I teach social sciences and humanities. And guess what you are, babies? You are humans, so humanity, and we're in society, so social science. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of connections between you and your career field, whatever focus that you've got, and the course content. So that's what you're going to write about. Okay, and so I've already said that particular week's topics have to be covered in the reaction paper, and it's going to help you do better on that week's quiz. Okay, and don't write about something that we've already been quizzed over unless you write about week 1 during week 2 as it relates to week 2 topics. Does that make sense? There's some synthesizing concepts going on there. If we are in week 6 and you think back to what we talked about in week 3 in chapter 2 or whatever corresponds to week 3, and you're like, well, back in chapter 2 we talked about blah, 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 but now we're in chapter 6 and we're talking about XYZ, and those things relate like this. In my educated opinion. That's a perfect reaction paper. And you can talk about past topics if you relate them to the current topics that we're discussing in class. Okay, 5, here's one that sometimes people get confused about. I don't know why I don't explain this well, but I say that it's my fault that people get confused about this one because apparently I don't explain it well. But 5 of the 10 reaction papers, not only do you come up with your own topic from the class discussions and the lectures and the things that I assign for you to do, but 5 times when you're writing your reaction papers over the course of the semester, and you can do this anytime. You can start off and do all 5 of them all at once, or you can scatter them about. But 5 of the 10 reaction papers, not only are you going to cover the material that we discussed in class, but you are going to bring something into your discussion to tell me about song lyrics or a movie that you saw or a news story that's going around or this particular feed on a blog or something. So you are going to tell me something that is published, not just a personal experience you have at work. That's not an outside source, but something that's published that I can go and read myself, watch myself, listen to myself. And you are going to analyze that based on the content of the class. Okay, so for instance, I'll use a sociology example. In sociology, we have a chapter that talks about small groups and the way small groups interact among themselves and with other small groups that they identify with otherness. And so there's a ton of high school girl kind of movies, or not even high school girl kind of movies, but I'm thinking of the movie Mean Girls here. that's been used a lot as an outside source. Students use that when we get to that chapter. When we get to the race chapter, people use like Boys in the Hood or Love and Basketball and stuff like this. So those are some movies that people have used and analyzed those things using the academic knowledge that we're getting in class. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. And I want you to cite it, but it can be very informal. You don't have to use any kind of special citation guide, because this is not a formal paper that you're not getting any points at all for doing citations correctly. I just want enough information in your citation so I can go and find it myself and watch it, listen to it, read it, whatever the source is. Okay, so please read that carefully. And then you already know that it's due Saturdays at midnight, and there's some other information in boldface that means that you need to pay attention to it. Here's the reaction paper schedule. I think I said already that because I use the journal tool for you to, that's a Blackboard tool, because I use the journal tool for you to submit your reaction paper, I've asked, and apparently there's no way for that particular thing that's due each week to have one of those little red dots on your Blackboard app to remind you that it's due. So please put these dates and these times in your phone, on your planner, or whatever you use. Please do that right now so that you won't miss out on that. And I will regularly, in the videos that you're required to watch, I will regularly refer to the reaction paper. So that will also be another reminder. But just get yourself in the habit now to figure out how you're going to remind yourself that there's that weekly assignment called a reaction paper. It's 10 points each, but you need to do 10 of them. So that's 100 points over the course of the semester. Big deal. Okay. It's a big deal. 100 points. Okay, so I also have here, scroll down, and there's some quiz rules for success, okay? The quizzes are weekly also. They come an entire day after the reaction paper, because the idea is you can use your reaction paper as study time. You're getting 10 points of credit for your study time if you write about your topics that you're reviewing. And then you're more prepared for your quiz, because every quiz comes from the previous lectures for that particular week. So quiz 3 is going to come from week 3, and I'm going to write the questions from the topics that we discuss in class. From the video lectures I post, from the additional lecture, maybe I've got a video from the library databases that you are required to watch that particular week. Maybe I give you an article to read, or I say chapter 6 pages this through that. That's what the quiz questions are going to come from. And all that information will be in each week's folder in Blackboard. Okay, so you won't have to guess, nothing. You will not have to guess anything ever. It's always clearly explained in each Blackboard folder, and the announcements that I send, which go to your email box. And hey, you got my cell phone number, so if there is anything confusing, please tell me, because if you're confused about it, somebody else is confused about it, and I want to fix it. So text me if there's ever any question whatsoever. That's why you got my cell phone number. Okay, so quizzes are not timed. You can access them, look to see what the questions are, answer them in your own time, log back in, and submit your answers then. But once you hit submit, you hit submit. And quizzes are like reaction papers. If you skip one, intentionally or unintentionally, if your electricity was out, if your baby boy, stepped on your computer and you didn't have access to one, whatever it is, I'm sorry right now, but you can't make up a quiz because there's 5 extra ones built into the system anyway. You only need 10 scores, and hopefully those will be 10 out of 10. I'm not going to give you any trick questions. It's college level, so you'll have some thinking to do. But if you've prepared, this is going to be an easy 10 points for you. And you can plan now to take as many quizzes as possible at the beginning of the semester. So at the end of the semester, maybe we've got 4 whole weeks of class left, but you're happy with your first 10 scores on the quizzes. So you can skip all the rest of them if you want to. Doing extra quizzes does not give you extra credit, but all I'm going to do is look at your 10 highest scores. Some people take all 15 or all 14 or 15, however many we're going to have. Some people take all of them, and that's fine too. I'm going to only look at the top 10 scores, okay? And that's what's going to count for you, and hopefully that'll be 100 points. That's what I want. Hopefully you want that too. Okay, so here's the quiz schedule. Please notice that this very first one, like I mentioned before, is not a Sunday at midnight, simply because this quiz is particularly required that everybody has to take it. So everybody has to take it, and I wanted to wait until after the drop add time, a significant period of days, a significant number of days till after the drop add time, so that you could be sure if you added this late and you're just watching this now and we've already been doing week 1, you're still responsible for week 1's stuff. But that week 1 quiz is postponed a little bit specifically for you if you added that late, this course late in the game. Okay. You've missed nothing. Make sure that you look at all of the stuff in the week 1 folder and then pick up with week 2 right away. Okay. So if you added before the semester even began and you're looking at this on day 1 of the class because you're a zealous student and you're excited about this like Mrs. T is, then you're still missing nothing. Okay. You're doing it. You're going to get it out of the way because it's going to be available on that Thursday anyway. Actually, I think I've got this one available the very first day of class. So please take it as soon as possible, but that's the odd due date. Okay? I think that's everything, which I wish I could talk faster, or I wish I didn't talk so much because this is long, so I'm sorry. But the lessons that we do in class, I'm trying to really get them down to 15 minutes or thereabouts, plus or minus a couple on either side. So I'm really going to try to make more of the video lectures shorter. So please don't roll your eyes and say, oh my gosh, am I going to have to listen to this woman spout for 30 minutes every single time I watch a video? No, you don't. But I'm going to try to make stuff shorter, and you can speed me up on YouTube, right? You can put me on twice as much. I wonder what I sound like twice as fast. I haven't done that before. But anyway, please text me if you have any questions. I know you will. My cell phone number's in Blackboard. And please, especially about this, if you have any questions, put it in the discussion board that I'm going to have in each week's folder too. I didn't have that showing when I was describing the week's folder, but that there's going to be like an extra credit discussion board in every single week, and the kinds of questions that you post are things that maybe everybody would wonder about. So anyway, ask me a question if anything is unclear here, and I am looking forward to this. See you very soon.